I'm hosting Friendsgiving this year, and I'm keeping it simple and cozy, and by the end of this video you'll see exactly how I pulled off a full dinner party without losing my mind. So today I'm taking you behind the scenes to the Friendsgiving party that I hosted. I'll be sharing with you everything from the recipes to how I cleaned to the decorations, and I even have a super delicious fall punch recipe that your guests are gonna just love. And along the way, I'm gonna be sure to show you my top hosting tips as we go, because I want you to learn the little tips that I've learned along the way to help make hosting easy. So if you're ready, let's go. When I'm hosting a party, the front entrance always gives the guest a first inkling as to what they can expect. So I spent some time getting the front entrance ready with a really beautiful wreath, which I'm going to show you how to DIY. And then I got some fall mums from our local nursery and some pumpkins to make it all look really festive. So let's start with the wreath.
So to make the wreath for the front door, I picked up this wreath really inexpensively at IKEA. I'm just going to add a few elements to just bring it up a notch. So I'm adding these berries, these cute little leather pumpkins that I found at Dollar Tree, some foliage. This is just like a piece that I had kind of laying around, and then some ribbon. We're going to start with the ribbon first. We're not going to do anything fancy. I'm literally just going to tie it in a bow, but I want the long strings hanging down. Next, with the pumpkin that I picked up at Dollar Tree, these all have like these cute little clips at the back. This makes it really easy for me to stick this on our bow. And I know it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, to make the ends look just a little bit more finished, all I'm going to do is take my ribbon, fold it in half this way, on diagonal, upwards. And then that gives us this really nice point. There, we have our fall wreath.
For the front entryway, I wanted to inject some color, but it's going to start with a clean sweep. We've got to get rid of all those dead leaves to make the front porch really look inviting for our guests. And then from there, it's a simple build in layering in the pumpkins and the mums along the steps and on the porch. We've tackled the outdoor, and now it's time for the indoor to look festive. Now here's one of my hosting tips for you. When it comes to decorating your home for the holidays or for an event, the tip here is to really just focus on one or two key areas for bigger impact. So because my house is open concept, I mean, it's easy to kind of get lost in like all the nooks and crannies to decorate, but I really wanted to focus on the living room, specifically the coffee table where guests would be gathering around, obviously the dining table where we're going to be having our dinner, and then the front entryway. So if you remember from outside, I had little hints of that purple, and I wanted to bring some of that indoors as well. So that's my little tip to keep you from going overboard and also keep you from wasting time on things that don't matter. I couldn't resist this disco pumpkin. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I posted how much I love this, and I just knew it had to take center stage. So that's why it got to be the center of the coffee table. And then when the light hits it as the sun sets, it is pure magic. When it comes to hosting a dinner party, I always like to add a little special touch to the table. And so for this Friendsgiving, I got a printer that actually prints on ribbon. And I had it printed with Happy Friendsgiving on it because I was going to use those ribbons as a sub for a napkin ring. So all I did was tie the ribbons around the napkins, add a little sprig of berry, and I had a really beautiful touch to add to the table. So the idea here is that you don't have to spend a lot of money on expensive napkin rings. Just using ribbon is a really great way to inject some color, to inject some personality to your table without spending a lot of money. Next up is cleaning and prep for this dinner party. Now I know I get messages from you guys all the time. This is the part that really stresses you out, and I'm gonna give you a couple of tips here on how to make it easy. One of my biggest tips is that when you're hosting, just focus on cleaning the areas that guests will be in. You don't have to spend time cleaning like your laundry room or the extra spare room. Nobody's looking at that. So just focus on those areas where your guests are going to actually be. And for me, I like to start at the front entrance and then I kind of work my way around. So when it comes to the front entrance, a couple of key things to keep in mind. One, because I live here in Canada, it gets cold. So we need to make sure that we've got a space to put coats. Now, if they're not going in the front entranceway, make sure you've got a room or somewhere that guests can put their winter jackets. I also like to make sure I have extra hangers so that my friends can hang their coats. Another thing to keep in mind is where are guests going to put their shoes? Now, maybe you're one of those households where guests keep their shoes on. Around here, we take our shoes off. So I just want to make sure that it's clear of all of our shoes and the clutter by the front door so that guests have a place to really take their shoes off and come in and get cozy. And then once the entryway is taken care of, then I make my way around to the living room, the dining room, and the bathroom. First things first, a little light dusting. Here we go. I love this glass table, except that it's constantly got fingerprints and dust on it, so I find myself constantly cleaning it. So I want to give you a tip on how to clean glass. First, you're going to spray vinegar and water solution. I'm just going to crumple up some newspaper and use that to wipe. I promise it will be streak-free and your glass will look shiny. This is sometimes the area that hosts forget. You make sure your bathroom's clean, but then you don't have extra toilet paper for your guests. And nobody wants to be caught with no toilet paper. Add this to your checklist when you're getting your bathroom ready for guests. Is just throw a couple extra rolls in there, just in case. So the house is now clean. We get to do the fun stuff, which is setting the table. And this is one of my hosting tips. I like to set the table the night before because then it's one less thing that I have to worry about the day of. For my Friendsgiving table, I wanted it to really feel natural and inviting with a lot of those warm, cozy, earthy tones. And I snipped some dried hydrangeas from the yard. I layered in some pumpkins, and then I layered in different heights of light because I knew that I wanted us to be able to have dinner by candlelight. In my mind, that's what I was going for. So I layered in fairy lights, I layered in tea lights, tall candles. That really helps to set the tone for this cozy Friendsgiving dinner. To help me create this cozy vibe, I went to Spotify and I wanted to add a really cozy Friendsgiving, jazzy, acoustic-y kind of playlist to our dinner. And this is a hosting tip that I use a lot. Spotify has so many great playlists to choose from, and adding that little touch, that little bit of music to your event makes all the difference. Now for the important part. What are we actually going to serve for our Friendsgiving dinner? I wanted to keep the recipe really warm and homey. Think like, grandma comfort food kind of thing. So we are serving, well, charcuterie board to start because I love doing that when I'm hosting. It's something you can make ahead of time. There's really no fuss. Just put some things on a platter and then guests can help themselves. So charcuterie board for the win. Then I'm going to do a sheet pan roasted chicken, which I'm going to share with you the recipe for that. Some roasted veggies, and then a store-bought salad, which I zhuzh up with some fruits and some nuts to make it a really nice fall salad.
So inside here, I've made a drizzle that goes over top. I feel like that's just a little bit neater. I like combining the flavors first in the measuring cup before I pour it over top. So in here, we've got olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, thyme, some basil, and a little bit of garlic powder, salt, and pepper. So don't worry about the portions. I'm going to be sure to put that in the notes for you. And the next step, this chicken, we've already spatchcocked the chicken. I mean, that's just a fancy way of taking the backs out so that the bird lays flat. And then we're going to bake it on these trays that I prepared with some aluminum foil. Now, I do that on the aluminum foil only because I feel like it makes cleanup a little bit easier than doing them right on the pan. So these birds are pretty well ready to go. I would say the one thing that you probably want to do first is just kind of pat them dry. That's how we make sure that we get a nice crispy skin on the birds when we're cooking them. So I'm just going to pat these dry. I put the birds one each on a tray. I mean, I know you could fit them both on one, but you want to give them enough space so that they can cook without all the juice kind of going all over. So next up comes, I'm just going to pour over this liquid. Now, I don't want to put too much oil because the fat itself from the skin of the chicken is going to contribute to adding some moisture. So right now the oven is preheating, and as soon as that's ready, then we're going to put the chicken in. It's going to take about 40 minutes or so to cook.
I'm going to show you really quickly I was going to say world famous. It's not world famous. It's just I make it all the time and it's really delicious. It is a lemon honey Dijon dressing, which we're going to use for this Friendsgiving dinner. And then for dessert, well, in this case, dessert was a mystery because my friend reached out. She loves to bring dessert whenever we have a get together. So you can say yes as a host. This is a reminder, you don't have to do everything yourself. She offered to bring dessert and I was very grateful that she did. Now the finishing touch for our Friendsgiving dinner is to make a really delicious fall punch. I mentioned that in the beginning. It was so good. I've got the recipe for you and I'm going to show you exactly what I did and how to make it.
Okay, so I've got all the ingredients here for us to start making a fall punch for our Friendsgiving. And we're going to start first of all with some apple cider. So you're going to put about 2 cups into a pitcher. And I like this recipe because you can make it ahead of time and just keep it cold. And that way when guests come, it's already ready to serve. And then to that, we're going to add about 1 cup of orange juice. We're going to top with some ginger ale. And now to that, it's totally up to you. I like this touch of sweetness, and all I did was boil equal parts brown sugar and water on the stove. So I did half a cup of brown sugar and half a cup of water, and I'm not going to add half a cup. I'm just adding a 1/4 cup of the brown sugar simple syrup to this. And we're going to make it look festive by adding some cranberries, some fresh sliced apples, and oh no, I forgot the pièce de résistance. Okay, I can't believe I forgot. And that is to add a cinnamon stick to this. So we're going to just give that a gentle stir. And now we have a really delicious punch to serve our guests when they arrive.
So there you have it, all the details of the Friendsgiving dinner that I hosted. My friends are a little camera shy, so I couldn't get video footage or photos that I can share with you, but we had a really great time. And I did want to say one thing. When I hosted, we turned off all the lights and just ate by candlelight, and it was such a really wonderful experience. It was such a game changer. People lingered around the table a little bit longer. Conversations got a little bit deeper. There's just something really magical about eating around candlelight. So if you've never done that before, I really encourage you to try it. Turn off the lights, light the candles, and really enjoy your time with guests. I'm so happy that you're here, that you watched the video. It means the world to me. If you like what you saw here, please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Happy hosting!